Hi, this is Peter.
Hi, this is Sandra.
And we are medievalist.net. And
today we're talking about
Full Metal Jousting, the remaining quarterfinals.
Yes, we had 3 jousts today, which I thought was actually a little much, but I liked a lot. I like a lot of jousting, but it was just kind of almost it got blurry. Like one joust just became another, another. It got this it could have been any old joust.
I don't think this was the kind of the best show, and because it's a competition, it's a real competition. Some matches just aren't as entertaining as others, and I think that's kind of the problem with what you kind of saw with this show. It wasn't as dramatic as we kind of hoped.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say? I actually too the joust. So it was kind of The only the joust I really enjoyed was the red team against red team joust, which was Jake Noter and not James. Sorry, was it?
Yeah, James Fairclough.
James Fairclough. So I thought that theirs was very good because there was an upset there. But the other ones, like the last one with Matt and Nathan, I thought was just kind of meh. It was low scoring, and just even Shane Adams was like, "This is really lame. Nobody's hitting anybody."
Yeah,
and I was just kind of.
Yeah, it was fairly dull, and it didn't live up to the standards. I really liked actually the very first one, which was Josh Avery and Rope Myers, which was really kind of a back and forth battle where they each
it's high scoring too.
High scoring. They unhorsed each other on the second pass, and it wound up being to the last shot again. Like they were tied 18 apiece going into the last one with Josh pulling out. So.
Yeah.
Or winning, I should say.
But yeah, the first and the second one were decent. Like I like that Jake had an upset because he was the last man picked on the red team,
mm-hmm.
and nobody expected him. The easy going kind of small weight guy to come out on top, and he's going to the quarterfinals. It's crazy. I like that underdog feel to the whole thing. So yeah, I think. That was really cool, and like I said, Matt and Nathan, what's his name, Clausen, I believe. I think their joust was kind of it was forgettable.
I think they try to make a lot about Matt being injured and having this cut on the leg, which he had to kind of overcome. So they try their best to give you a backstory to the characters. So, or a backstory to not characters but participants, and so you can almost tell who's going to win by who gets the more screen time beforehand. So.
Right. Yeah. So it was pretty good, and I'm looking forward to watching the semifinals. I'm hoping it's high scoring, hard hitting. Unhorsings and that kind of thing, and I hope it doesn't just become like a 2-3 or a 1-3 or that's just the worst. 8 passes later and they're just kind of poked at each other.
This is again a competition. You don't know what you're going to expect. So just like in other kind of sports, there are some really interesting and competitive moments, and there's some that are less so.
So, who do you think is going to take home the 100,000 of the 4? Who are you rooting for? It's Josh versus Josh, and you got Jake versus
Matt.
Matt.
I like Jake myself. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of an interesting guy, so I enjoy him, and he's got the most personality of all of the groups. So I'm kind of rooting for him.
I like him, but I also like Josh Knowles is been kind of a mouthy, out there, really hard hitting competitor, and I kind of I like him because he's been he's been a really good jouster, and I kind of think I don't know how much of it was Jake was a fluke versus Josh Knowles. I think is actually a really strong contender. I think he could actually muscle his way to the top.
I think one thing is that like of these last ones, I think most or if not all of them are theatrical jousters.
Josh Knowles is. Josh Avery, I think, is.
They,
I don't think James Fairclough is. I think, if I remember correctly,
No,
he's a jumper.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. You know, I have to go back and
yeah,
and
like
look,
well,
but
they kind of mention off and stuff like that, but like I think like having that experience really kind of pays off, right?
Yeah.
Like in a very what probably is a very short competition, but it's but it's still we're going to see semifinals next week, and we'll see what kind of
Drama-rama.
Exactly.
I'm stoked. It'll be very good. So join us next week for an exciting semi-final
on Full Metal Jousting.